Hey, what's going on? You know who it is. You know what it is. All right, you guys, peep game. All right, man. So, it's it's all starting to come out now. But this is no surprise to me. It appears that Terrence Crawford's legal team has contacted Bob Arum's legal team. And keep in mind, Bob Arum is a lawyer himself. So, he knows his way around the courtroom. He spent some time in the courtroom as a lawyer. So, nevertheless, it appears that Terrence Crawford is looking to get out of his contract with Top Rank because at the end of the day, they haven't been able to deliver him the big fights for whatever reason. I've already stated my reasons on several occasions that it was basically a freeze out of Terrence Crawford, by the PBC. And to me, that's just the way it is, whether people like it or not. I'm not going to go back and forth with you about the shit. If you come on my channel and you say something disrespectful, I'm going to block your ass. You know, um, they froze Terrence Crawford out because it's basically, well, Al Heyman wasn't about to do business with Bob Arum like that. He already had to do it with Deontay Wilder and Tyson Fury, and you see how that turned out, you know, and whatever the case is, there is a old grudge between Bob Arum and Al Heyman because Bob Arum allegedly had Al Heyman kicked off of HBO. So Al Heyman has it in for Bob Arum. And basically, he wasn't going to really do no big fights with him. At the end of the day, Deontay Wilder, he wanted that fight with Tyson Fury. He made it happen, you know. So that's the thing. We all know while people constantly bitch about Terrence Crawford ain't fought nobody, he need to fight Danny Garcia, he need to fight this dude, he need to fight that dude. At the end of the day, he tried to make those fights happen, and we already know what happened. They were talked out of not taking those fights. They admitted that they were offers. We got people hollering about, trying to play promoter about, oh, this dude should have got this much and all this shit, and ain't none of y'all know promoters. So at the end of the day, shut it down. Shut it. It's documented. There was offers back in the day to fight Keith Thurman. Keith Thurman didn't take the offer. There was offers for Danny Garcia to fight Terrence Crawford. Danny Garcia was talking about call Al Heyman. So at the end of the day, every time those dudes threatened to go over and fight on Top Rank, well, something would happen. They'd get a particular fight they might desire or whatever the case may be, or, they'll just get another fight. Like I said, once again, nobody can dispute that Danny Garcia was offered more money to fight Bud than he did for Adrian Granados. But people want to holler about, well, Amir Khan got 6 million. Well, you know what? Danny Garcia should ask for 6 million. But at the end of the day, we know Al wouldn't have let that fight happen. Because one, he didn't want to give Top Rank the opportunity to possibly bring over belts to them. And now you're looking at what could possibly happen tomorrow where Bob Arum may try to put the screws to Terrence Crawford. But at the end of the day, I think Terrence Crawford is going to prevail to win this fight. But this has been a long time coming, because let's just face the fact. I never said that Terrence Crawford fought top tier, the best guys, but at the end of the day, he fought the best guys that would sign the contract. When you sit up there and say that he didn't fight nobody and all that shit, the Mean Machine was a gold medalist, undefeated at the end of the day. Jeff Horn, undefeated, coming off a win versus Manny Pacquiao. So, I mean, Benavidez, solid fighter. You know, Amir Khan, established fighter. But at the end of the day, Amir Khan had took some losses, had been brutally knocked out before, but he had a name. Okay, so keep that in mind when you start coming on people's outlet like talking shit and trying to talk reckless So just remember that. We can disagree, but you know what I'm saying? You don't have to be disrespectful, because I warned one dude about coming on my channel being disrespectful and his ass got blocked. So, but nevertheless, they were all offers for him to fight people on the other side of the street. At the end of the day, you know, even when these dudes entertained the thought of going on the other side of the boulevard or whatever you want to call it, all of a sudden they got, they got a fight. So in retrospective, if Bud have to go over to the PBC to get big fights, then I guess it is what it is, because it's definitely been a freeze out of him with the PBC. Like I said before, I don't have nothing invested in the PBC or Top Rank, so I pretty much can be neutral about this thing. Like I told you, I'm not no PBC extremist, and I'm not no fucking Top Rank extremist neither, like some niggas was trying to accuse me of being, even though they didn't know what the fuck they was talking about. But it is what it is. All I want to see is the best fights made possible. I would like to see the politics pushed aside, but this appears to be an ongoing thing. All you have is a bunch of promoters that lie to the fans, fighters that lie to the fans, trainers that lie to the fans. You know what I'm saying? Because that's basically what's going on. Like I said, at least in the 90s, like the early 2000s, the 80s, for the most part, you got the fights made that you wanted to see. For the most part, there still were certain fights that never got made. So, that was unfortunate. But now it's like you clamoring for certain fights to get made. You got the fighters hollering this, hollering that, just talking to the point to where you just get completely annoyed with them. And this just isn't with the black fighters. It's just all across the board. You got the Hispanic fighters doing that shit. You got the black fighters doing that shit. You got the other non-black fighters doing that shit. And you just want to pull out your hair, if you even got hair, because you like, God damn, can we just get a fight made? Because at the end of the day, at the end of the day, we pay the pay-per-view money. We were going to the fights, buying the tickets. And, now it's just to the point you just be like, man, when is this shit going to stop? Like I said, I'm not going to sit up here and be a PBC nut hugger, a Top Rank nut hugger, a DAZN nut hugger. That ain't what I do. Like I said, some motherfuckers tried to accuse me of being that, and like I said, they didn't know what the fuck they was talking about. Always some nigga running their mouth and they don't know what the fuck they talking about. They just think they know what they talking about when in reality they don't. So, it is what it is, man. But I just want to see these fucking fights made. But Bob Arum, he just not doing what he need to do. And at the end of the day, you got to tell the truth about Top Rank. Top Rank just don't know how to promote black fighters. People can get mad all they want, and people could say, why you making this a race thing? Well, according to Cameron Duncan, Bob Arum has a black murderers roll list of certain black fighters not to put in the ring with his fighters that may not be black. So that's according to him. So don't try to play that race card shit with me. And by the way, there ain't no such thing as no fucking race card. So just don't try to say, why are you making this about race? As I said before, you don't like what I say on my channel, keep your ass off my channel. Like I told you, don't tell me what to talk about on my channel. I don't take orders. Okay? This is my shit. But you just got to say this about Top Rank. They just don't know how to promote black fighters. They just don't. They haven't caught up with the times. Bob Arum is 90 years old, or damn near 90 years old. And then you look at Todd DeBuff. You wonder, does he have an interest in even running this company the way he acts? Not to mention the other people. They just need to, hire people that can do a better job of like pushing these black fighters. They need to hire a better PR team. They need to spend the money and try to market these dudes. You know, one of the best ways to market these dudes is, like I said, to present these dudes to black media outlets. You know, present them to black media outlets. Whenever it's safe to, like, do book signings and all that kind of stuff, then you do that. If they ain't got a fight coming, because at the end of the day, marketing helps too. Put their names out there. They just don't do that. Because at the end of the day, look what happened with Vasily Lomachenko. Backfired tremendously. I mean, boy, it backfired. They was banking so much on Vasily Lomachenko, and they tried their hardest to try to, pass this dude off as the best fighter in the world, and people with common sense knew that he wasn't. They tried to force feed this dude to us, and a lot of people saw right through it. Most people with common sense, that he wasn't as good as they made him out to be. One, he wasn't marketable. Man barely could speak English. At the end of the day, um, he just wasn't an interesting person. And it's very hard to promote guys like Lomachenko to the general public. Now, a guy like Tiafimo, he's sellable due to the fact how arrogant he is and how he talks. So you can kind of market him. You can market him as a badass or whatever you want to call it. And like I said, Top Rank just did a horrible job of trying to promote Bud. And they kept pushing this man to the back of the bus for Vasily Lomachenko. And now, like I said, Vasily Lomachenko, for the time being, is out of the picture. Bud should have always been the focus. So now that they about to lose him, more than likely, now it's like, well, what should we do? Now they talking about, oh, well, we gonna try to get him this fight or that fight, and you haven't been able to deliver for the most part. So the situation with Bud, it's a little bit of everybody's fault, you know. So that's pretty much what I have to say about that. Now let me move on to the next subject. It's your boy Town Biz. I'm out.